Hello and welcome to another cook along. Today we are going to be making egg fried rice, which is one of my favourite kind of weekday. I've got no time, chuck it all in the pan and have a healthy, tasty dinner on the table in no time at all. So as per usual, just make sure you've got a nice clean workspace, work surface. Tie your hair back if you've got long hair. And I've got my apron back on, and so pop an apron on if you've got one. If you don't, no worries, and let's go and wash our hands. Okay, so the first thing we need to do with this recipe is you need to cook your rice, and there's tons of different types of rice. You might have microwavable rice, whatever. Sometimes you've got little pouches of rice that you just boil in the bag. I've got basmati rice here because I like the flavour best, and it's nice and easy because I'm rubbish at cooking rice. So you just fill up the kettle, boil it, and fill up the pot with your water. Just like when you're cooking pasta and you cook it for about 10 minutes. So I can't get this rice, I don't get wrong, but any other rice, I'm rubbish at cooking. So once you've cooked your rice, we're good to go. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is chop the onion. So you're going to have one fresh onion, and otherwise I'm just going to use frozen veg. But you feel free to, if you want to use, if you've got some old veg that needs using up in the fridge, whatever, spring onions, mushrooms, peppers, whatever you fancy, you could feel free to add them in as well. So you could just fry them with the onion at the beginning. Or if you don't have any frozen veg, you can use, if you've got any peas in the freezer or tins of sweet corn, those are things that you can add in as well. So it's really easy, just whatever you have available. But as I said, I'm going to be using some frozen veg today, but it is good if you have a fresh onion. And you're all experts now at chopping onions, so I don't need to show you how. So we're just going to slice it today. Well, I'm going to slice it. You can chop it finely if you prefer. Actually no, scrap that. Forget that. My wee girl's not going to eat it if it's in big bits. If it was just me, I'd have kind of bigger slices of onion, but my wee girl's going to be eating this for dinner tonight, and she's going to refuse to eat it if the onion's in big bits. Small bits are acceptable, big bits are not. So I'm just going to chop the onion like we chopped it for the last couple of weeks into wee squares. And we're using eggs obviously for the egg fried rice, as you do. And like I mentioned last week with the protein, eggs are actually the perfect form of protein. So nutritionally speaking, because of what protein is made of, eggs are actually the perfect form, even better than meat. So it's a really good thing to include in your wee one's diet. And actually, before I cut the second half, I'm just going to turn on the hob so it heats up ready to cook the onion. So you want your hob on at about a medium to high heat this time, quite hot. Just going to chop the rest of the onion. Here we go. That's that sorted. Now I'm going to add some oil, and again I've got rapeseed oil today, so your crisp and dry will be rapeseed oil, but whatever you've got, rapeseed oil, sunflower oil. So you're just going to add a teaspoon of oil to your frying pan. Just make sure your pan's nice and coated with the oil. And then I've just actually popped my kettle on because I'm going to fill up my pot to cook my frozen veg. So I've just popped that on. And now I'm going to add my onion to the frying pan. So just give your onion a wee stir in the frying pan. And my rice ready to go. I'm just going to rinse out my pan. I made the rice in the same pot that I'm going to use for the frozen veg. I like to save on washing up, so I'm just going to rinse it out a wee bit. Okay, so I've just popped the hob on for the frozen veg, so I'm just going to grab the veg out of the freezer. And then this recipe is about 4 adult portions, so you can obviously half the recipe if you just want it for less people. It also keeps, so you can keep it for about a day, so you could have leftovers the next day, but don't keep rice too long because rice sort of breeds bacteria, so you just want to reheat it once and make sure you reheat it till it's piping hot, and don't keep it for longer than 24 hours. Right, so I'm going to pop my veg in the pan, so I'm going to use about a handful per person, so about 4 handfuls of frozen veg. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then just cook your veg according to pack instructions. It's usually about 5 minutes. Yeah, it says boil 3 to 5 minutes. And once it's brought back to the boil. Okay. I'm just going to put a lid on the veg so that it boils quicker. So the onion is bubbling away. While we're waiting to put the rice into the pan, I'm just going to beat my eggs. So it's 4 eggs again for if you're making it for 4 people. With eggs, because handling raw eggs they can have bacteria on them. Put your eggshells in the bin and then always wash your hands after you've handled raw egg. Okay, so my onion is nice and brown now. So it should be a wee bit brown, starting with brown, and then you can add your rice. So just pop your rice into the pan. Give it a stir. Right, so I'm just going to beat up the eggs. Okay, so once your rice has been frying for a couple of minutes, then you can add the egg. So what we're going to do is we're just going to move the rice to one side, to one half of the frying pan. Okay. Actually, before we add the eggs, we're going to add another tablespoon of oil. So pop the oil in the empty half of your frying pan. Pop it in there. Swirl it round a wee bit. And then you're going to add your eggs to that part of the pan. Okay, so you can leave the egg to cook for a minute or so without touching it. And then once it's cooked for about a minute, you're just going to stir the eggs through the rice. You're just going to stir it in really thoroughly. And if you want bigger chunks of egg through your rice, if you like big chunks of egg, then just leave it to cook for a wee bit longer. I'm just going to check that the veg is ready. Not very good at checking my time, so I've just got to taste. Yep, that's good to go. So I'm just going to drain my veg and then I'm going to stir that through the rice as well. Okay, so I'm going to pop that veg in. Stir it through. And that's you, sorted. Just put it in a wee bowl for your wee one to eat, and I'd say the veg fried rice is probably also okay from about 8 months, depending on the size of the chunks. But it should be okay from about 8 months for your wee one to eat. For your portion, you can add some soy sauce. Soy sauce is really high in salt, so you don't want to add it to your wee one's food. You can get lower salt soy sauce, so if you get that, you could add it to their food just a wee bit from a year, but below a year definitely don't add any soy sauce. Obviously to your own, you can do whatever you like. You can add soy sauce, you could add some chili flakes or hot sauce if you like things spicy. Stir it through, and that's it. Really, really easy, very cheap meal again that you can whip up in no time at all. So I think that's it for me again. Let me just show you. I can't get into my drawers because of all these cameras. Yeah. Right, a quick wash up of the bowl, and then I'll just show you what it looks like. There we go. So that's the egg fried rice there, and yeah, just add some delicious soy sauce, and Bob's your uncle. Dinner sorted. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this week. Do let me know how you get on. Send some more photos to Lindsay. I really love seeing them, and I hope your wee ones like it too. Next week we will be doing some delicious cheese and courgette muffins, so I look forward to that. Until then, have a lovely week and see you next time.